The NFL trade deadline is approaching fast, and the rumors surrounding the Dallas Cowboys are heating up. No surprises there. But what is surprising, or maybe just frustrating for Cowboys fans, is the direction the front office seems to be leaning toward. According to recent comments from Jerry Jones, shared during the NFL owners' meeting, Dallas might not be making any kind of big splash at all. When asked about the team's plans, Jones made it clear that the Cowboys are not prioritizing a move for a pass rusher. And if that truly is the case, it raises some serious eyebrows about where the team sees its weaknesses and how serious they are about competing deep into the postseason. Now, let's break this down a little. The Cowboys' pass rush has shown flashes of dominance, but without consistent help on the edge, especially if Micah Parsons is being used in other roles, there's a glaring need for depth and impact players at that position. Jerry said it plainly. He doesn't believe there's a pass rusher on the market that makes sense in terms of both contract and draft pick cost. But that leaves fans wondering, is that the truth, or just the Cowboys playing poker, keeping things close to the vest while they quietly work the phones? It wouldn't be the first time Dallas has tried to downplay trade deadline noise only to make a move at the last minute, or just sit on their hands altogether. The frustrating part is that the Cowboys are not in a rebuild. This is a win-now team with talent across the board, and the NFC is as open as it's been in recent memory. But what defines a big splash anyway? If you're talking about a top-tier, superstar edge rusher like Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson, sure, those guys are likely untouchable. But what about players like Jalen Phillips or Jermaine Johnson? If they don't count as big splashes, then why not at least explore those options more aggressively? There's even some speculation, call it conspiracy theory if you want, that Dallas did, in fact, make a call on someone like Max Crosby and got a hard no from the Raiders. And instead of admitting they were turned down, they're now feeding the media lines about not being interested in a move at all. That would explain a lot. And it fits the pattern of how the Cowboys often handle these situations, quietly checking in, getting rejected, and then pivoting the public narrative to make it sound like it was never part of the plan to begin with. Now, shifting focus to the New York Jets, there's been a lot of chatter about who might be available from their roster. According to Jordan Schultz, a few intriguing names have come up in trade talks. Breece Hall, Quincy Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, Michael Carter, and Allen Lazard. Some of these names are likely long shots to actually be moved, but it's the defensive players, particularly the edge rushers and linebackers, that should catch the Cowboys' eye. Let's start with Will McDonald. This is a player Dallas already had eyes on during the draft process. Coming out of Iowa State, McDonald was seen as a potential first-round target, and if he had been available when the Cowboys were on the clock, there's a strong chance he'd already be wearing the star. Production-wise, he's dipped a bit this season, just like a lot of Jets players, but that doesn't erase the upside or the raw talent he brings. The real question is whether the Jets are even open to moving him, considering he's still on a rookie contract and offers team control for years to come. In fact, according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, the Jets might actually be more willing to part with Jermaine Johnson than McDonald. That's significant. Johnson, despite not putting up huge sack totals this season, showed strong signs of a breakout in 2023 before dealing with injuries. He's a big-bodied edge with real strength and size, something the Cowboys' rotation could benefit from, especially when you consider that many of Dallas' edge guys outside of DeMarcus Lawrence tend to be on the lighter side. Adding a more physically imposing presence could round out the group and give Dan Quinn more flexibility when rotating his front. But here's the problem. Johnson himself might not be thrilled about the trade rumors. He posted that "I'm not leaving GIF from the Wolf of Wall Street," a clear message that he wants to stay in New York. He even said in a recent interview that after talking with the Jets front office, everyone is on the same page and he's not expecting to be moved. That could be true, or it could be posturing. Either way, it casts doubt on whether Dallas could even pry him away in the first place. And if they could, the price might be steep. Still, it's worth asking, should the Cowboys go all in on a player like Jermaine Johnson? If the goal is to finally get over the hump in January and make a serious run, these are the calculated risks you take. And remember, it's not just Dallas sniffing around for edge help. The 49ers are reportedly in the market, and with head coach Kyle Shanahan having strong ties to Jets head coach Robert Saleh, It's not hard to imagine San Francisco getting first dibs on any New York defenders who hit the trade block. Quincy Williams is another name that could be interesting. He's been quietly having a very strong season and has turned into a reliable, physical linebacker with a real nose for the football. He's the kind of tone setter this Cowboys defense could use, especially with Leighton Vander Esch out and the linebacker depth being tested more than expected. There's a question of whether the Jets would move him, considering his brother Quinnen Williams is also on the team, and that could create some chemistry issues. But if the offer is right, anything's possible. The Cowboys avoided having to face either Johnson or Williams in their matchup with the Jets earlier this year, and that worked to their advantage. But now might be the time to try and flip the script. See if either of those guys can be brought in to wear silver and blue instead. The downside? All three players, McDonald, Johnson, and Williams, are under contract beyond this season. That means New York isn't in a position where they have to trade them. There's no ticking clock on their deals. One Jets assistant GM even told Fox Sports that while the team is listening to offers, the price tags are high. And in NFL speak, that often means we're not really trying to move these guys unless someone overpays. Let's pivot for a moment and look at the Miami Dolphins. Another team that's caught in a strange limbo heading into the trade deadline. On one hand, they're contenders. On the other, according to Fox Sports, their front office might be feeling the pressure of job security, uncertain whether Chris Greer or Mike McDaniel will even be around much longer. That kind of organizational tension can lead to bold moves or complete hesitation. And right now, Miami might actually be a seller, whether they want to admit it or not. Two edge rushers from the Dolphins have popped up in the rumor mill, Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. Chubb is the more high-profile name with the better sack numbers, but his contract is steep and the savings for the Dolphins wouldn't be immediate. Phillips, on the other hand, might be the more intriguing target for Dallas. His athletic upside, explosion off the edge, and ability to create pressure make him a tempting option, especially if the cost is something like a 4th or 5th round pick. The catch? He's a rental. His deal is almost up, and if Dallas brings him in, they'd likely be looking at either re-signing him quickly or letting him walk and hoping for a compensatory pick. For a team that's traditionally been hesitant to trade away draft capital, especially for rentals, that's a tough sell. But again, this is a team that's supposed to be in the mix to win now. If Phillips gives them a better shot at slowing down the Niners, Eagles, and Lions come playoff time, that alone might be worth a gamble. There are also rumors linking teams like the Eagles, Chiefs, Niners, Colts, and Lions to the edge market. All of these teams are in similar positions to Dallas, trying to bolster their rosters for a deep run. And all of them might be more aggressive than the Cowboys are willing to be. That's the reality of competing at the top. If you're not pushing forward, you're falling behind. And unfortunately, the Cowboys have a recent history of playing it safe when the moment calls for boldness. So while Jerry Jones might be downplaying the possibility of a splash move, the clock is ticking. If Dallas wants to keep pace with the true contenders in the NFC, now is the time to make a move. Otherwise, they risk falling into that familiar trap, good enough to contend, but not quite good enough to win it all. Let's talk about some of the other names floating around the trade market and how they connect to Dallas, starting with the Tennessee Titans. According to Bleacher Report, two players have come up as potential fits for the Cowboys, linebacker Cody Barton and cornerback Roger McCreary. Now, before diving into whether these moves make sense, it's important to consider where the Cowboys are actually hurting. With Leighton Vander Esch's injury and the overall inconsistency at the second level, linebacker is definitely a soft spot. Damone Clark has stepped up, and Marquise Bell has flashed at times, but you can feel the absence of a true, reliable presence in the middle. That's where someone like Barton might come into the conversation. Barton is one of those players who's racked up solid tackle numbers throughout his career, but he's bounced around a bit, from Seattle to Washington and now with Tennessee. That in itself tells you something. He's serviceable, but not a star. The kind of guy who can fill a role, give you average production, maybe even start for stretches if necessary. But is that what Dallas really needs right now? The price Bleacher Report suggested, a 4th-round pick, feels steep for what Barton brings to the table. It's not that he's bad, but 4th-rounders are valuable, and Barton hasn't proven that he's a significant upgrade over what Dallas already has on roster. There's also the issue of cost beyond this season. Barton is on a fairly affordable deal this year, with his prorated salary landing around half of his original $2.3 million number. But next year, the cap hit jumps to around $6.5 million, with some guarantees still on the books. That's not outrageous money, but it's not nothing either. For a guy who's probably best suited as a rotational linebacker or depth piece, that price tag becomes harder to justify, especially for a front office like the Cowboys that's notoriously frugal when it comes to in-season acquisitions. If you're going to spend a fourth-round pick on a linebacker, it better be someone who can walk in and make an immediate difference. Otherwise, you might as well roll with the guys you've already got and trust your coaching staff to figure out. The idea of trading for Barton feels more like making a move just to make one, rather than solving a real issue with a long-term solution. Now, Roger McCreary is a more intriguing name. Coming out of Auburn, he was one of those scrappy, tough corners that played bigger than his frame. And he's produced at the NFL level too. He's a willing tackler, not afraid to stick his nose in the run game. And last season, he posted double-digit tackles for loss, an impressive stat for a defensive back. That tells you he's not just hanging back in coverage. He's active and disruptive. Sounds like a great fit for the Cowboys' physical, fast defense, right? Well, not exactly. The problem here is something Dallas has been very consistent about when it comes to cornerbacks: arm length. McCreary's arms measure under 29 inches, and that's basically a non-starter for the Cowboys' front office and scouting department. They have a very specific mold when it comes to defensive backs, and short arms are rarely, if ever, part of it. Even a guy like Jordan Lewis, who's undersized, still has passable arm length. McCreary doesn't fit that prototype, and that could be enough to take him off the board entirely for Dallas. Add to that the cost, another fourth-round pick, and now you've got a situation where you're giving up real assets for a player who may not be a scheme or profile fit. Again, that feels like more of a forced move than a calculated one. And if Dallas is going to spend draft capital, they need to be smart about it, especially with how much value they've been able to extract from mid-round picks in recent years. There's also the question of how much help Dallas really needs in the secondary. With Trayvon Diggs out for the year, the cornerback room has had to adjust, but players like Darren Bland and Stephon Gilmore have held their own. Safety play has been steady, and the versatility across the defensive backfield has helped Dan Quinn stay creative. Is it perfect? No. But is it desperate enough to trade away a fourth-round pick for a guy who might not even see the field consistently? Probably not. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers have turned into feverish excitement in Dallas as the Cowboys seemingly prepare to welcome a superstar that could change the trajectory of their season. The rumor mill is buzzing with reports that TYREEK Hill, one of the most electrifying wide receivers in the league, is on the verge of joining the star-studded roster. While nothing has been officially confirmed, sources close to the team hint that negotiations are well underway, sending fans into an outright frenzy. Hill, known for his blistering speed and game-breaking plays, would instantly elevate the Cowboys' offense to a level few teams could match. Imagine him on the field, running routes that defenders can barely react to, creating deep threats, and turning every touch into a potential highlight reel moment. The mere possibility of him lining up with Dallas quarterback has already sparked social media storms, with fans sharing memes, countdowns, and bold predictions about the first game with Hill in the lineup. Insiders suggest that the Cowboys management has been quietly orchestrating a deal, understanding the immense impact Hill could have both on and off the field. His presence wouldn't just bolster the passing game. It could ignite the entire stadium, drawing in fans from far and wide, increasing merchandise sales and boosting the team's media profile. The combination of his talent and charisma has made Hill a magnet for attention wherever he goes, and Dallas seems poised to become the next stage for his explosive performances. While rival teams watch nervously, Cowboys supporters are already envisioning highlight reels, clutch touchdowns, and a revitalized offense that can strike fear into any defense. If the rumors hold any truth, the Cowboys are about to experience a shift so profound that the league will be talking about it for months. Until an official announcement arrives, the city remains in suspense. But one thing is certain. The very idea of Tyreek Hill in Dallas has set the sports world alight with excitement. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.